Hello, welcome to Raleigh.
Thank you.
The fine folks of Raleigh, I know it's been packed down there yesterday, today. It's been hard to get through those aisles, but the fine folks here in Raleigh and surrounding areas been treating you well?
They have, very much so, very much so. I was actually here in 2015, maybe 2016, in Durham at the Performing Arts Theater doing Pippin. So, and then I was here I brought one of my sons who was being recruited by Duke for soccer. He ended up going somewhere else, but I've been in Raleigh a couple of times. It's beautiful here.
Oh, absolutely beautiful area. Yeah. I'm so excited to have you here. I'm a huge theater Broadway nerd, I'm excited to chat with you a little bit. But speaking of that, of course, Grease. And hanging out here with Barry Bostwick.
Yes.
Was there times that you have seen Barry in between when when you guys were performing till now?
The cast, Barry and I were both in the original production of Grease. I was Rizzo and Barry was Zuko. And I think because we were all at the same place in our careers, we were all about the same age, we bonded, and those cast members from the original cast are still my closest friends. So, and we always try and get together. Unfortunately, we've lost a couple of people in this last 2 years. And in fact, the last time I saw Barry was at a con, and we were doing a video for another one of our greasers who was not doing well. So I try and see them whenever I can.
I love that you kept in touch, especially from the start, because at that time, it's not like now, good, I'll see you at the next one. Here, I'll give you my cell number. Well,
yeah, there was
Facebook.
No.
There was none of that. So keeping tabs on each other during that time, you had to go out of your way to do so. That's true friendship.
I moved to LA to do Maude, and then everyone came after me and stayed with me, and Walter Bobby, who played Rump in the original, came, and he used to live with me for pilot season for several years, and then actually the last time he lived with me, he had decided that he could not make a go of it as an actor, and he was going to go back to New York and go back to the Art Institute. And instead he went back to New York and directed a little off-Broadway production of Chicago, which has been running on Broadway for 25 years. So Walter doesn't need to come live with me anymore. But yeah, it was that kind of thing. We just all kept together.
That's so nice. Are you still LA then?
I'm still LA.
You're still LA.
Yes.
Have you been LA for
I've been LA since I was nominated for a Tony for Grease, and Norman Lear came looking for the daughter on Maude, and they hired me, and I went to LA and signed a month-by-month apartment, because who knew if the pilot was going to go or if the series was going to go, and I've been there ever since. I'm from California. I'm from Northern California.
Okay, Northern California.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of people, move to California, then they move out, and then they move back, and then they move. It's interesting that you've lived there, that this whole time. You mentioned Maude with the great B. Arthur.
Yes.
What did you, so that was coming from a theater background. Mm-hmm. What did you learn television-wise? From
B?
Yeah, from B.
Well, we were all theater actors.
Right.
And so we all had, I think, I'd like to believe, the same sense of professionalism. But what I learned from B, and what I took for granted at the time until Maude finished, or I'd go off and guest star on some other series, B was the most... Well, in the first place, there was no ego there. She was the most giving actor in terms, what was important was the show and the scripts. So it didn't matter that, we'd have a table read and she'd be the first one to say, I think this line would work better if Adie said it or if Conrad said it or whatever. But the other thing that I learned, if we had a guest actor come in, even a day player, B was up from the table, right to the door, bringing them in, introducing them to everyone. She was a wonderful, wonderful mentor. And the other thing I learned from Bea, I suppose, was my sense of timing, my comedy timing. I mean, I'd only done musical comedy up until then, you know, and nobody could hold a take like Bea could.
Oh, absolutely.
So.
Yeah, huge fan, obviously, from Maude, but more importantly, from Golden Girls. I think a lot of us are fans here. So from there, you know, at conventions like GalaxyCon, of course, your lineup, your resume, super impressive from bottom to top. But here at a convention like GalaxyCon, a lot of Catwoman fans.
You know, just in the last maybe 3 or 4 years, it's people have not only, well, they've always known the series, but they've just become aware of the voice actors, I think.
Right.
And I find that I'm signing more Catwoman memorabilia than I am The Fog or Escape or Creepshow or any of the others, you know, and it's wonderful. It's great. But I didn't know you were the voice of Catwoman as they look at the poster or something. Yeah.
So how does that, again, going from, you know, stage to film to television and doing all these doing voice acting, voiceovers, and especially in such a prominent role in such a prominent TV show?
We certainly didn't know, just like we didn't know when we were doing The Fog or Escape or any of those films in the 80s. We certainly didn't know that it was going to have such a remarkable life, onward and onward. I got the role because my voiceover agency, called and said, you know, we've got an audition for you for the role of Catwoman in this new series, Batman. I had never watched Batman. I'm not a cartoon person, really.
Right.
Maybe I had seen Miss America.
Eartha Kitt?
No.
Oh.
No.
Oh,
Lee.
Yes,
Maybe
Lee
I had seen Lee a couple of times, but I wasn't even a television watcher, really.
Right.
So I just went in. It was a 30-second recording audition, and I just said the lines the way I thought a Catwoman would say them. And about a month later, I got the call saying, well, they've hired you for Catwoman.
When did you realize, because, you know, it's obviously theater, you get that instant feedback, instant reaction. Television, film, maybe a little bit longer, you know, because it has to air. Animation, you do the voice, and then they have to animate everything, and then it goes out. When did you realize that Batman the Animated Series had legs, had a life, had a fandom?
I think it wasn't until I did my first convention with Johnny Glover and Kevin and Diane and Lauren, and they were all there to sign for Batman, and I was invited to do it, and I actually we all became closer friends, I think, doing the cons, because when you're doing an animated series, especially a Batman, Scooby-Doo, I just went into a studio by myself, you know, and I did a Family Guy, I think it was Family Guy, where they called me and said, you're going to play a 90-year-old French maid who's having a love scene with Carl Reiner. I thought, oh, fantastic, fantastic. And I get to the set, and it's just me and a microphone. There's no Carl Reiner, you know. But when we did Batman, we just all came into the studio, sat in our chairs, our scripts were in front of us. We read the lines. We had a fantastic booth director. If any of you are Batman aficionados, you know Andrea Romano. And we did the episode, and everybody said goodbye and went their merry way. So I really didn't know any of them then. And it wasn't until I started doing the cons, which I guess it was before the pandemic, but it doesn't seem like that long
Right.
ago.
And then here we are,
Yeah.
celebrate.
Yeah.
In fact, my very first panel that we had on this stage here this weekend, one of our guests was like, I'm a huge, Batman the Animated Series fan. I said, well, Catwoman is here. And he dang near got off the stage and went and tracked you down. So do you find that we even have guests of the conventions that are tracking you down to tell you how much of a fan they are?
I find that there are people who come up and say, how come you have those pictures of Catwoman? Well, because I was the voice, You were? Oh my gosh, I love Catwoman, but I mean, I don't know. You guys would know better than I. If animation fans really dig in and find out who the voices are.
I mean, they do now,
and
absolutely.
I guess
Absolutely.
they do. Yeah.
I want to talk about a project, a very recent project, where you got to come face to face with a younger version of yourself. Anybody here see, was it Dusters?
Duster. They canceled it. They canceled it. Okay, I'll tell you. I mean, if you haven't seen it, you're not really going to appreciate this story. But maybe 2 years ago, I got called to audition for a role in Duster. And I don't remember most of my auditions, but I loved this audition, and I was really happy with it. And I was very proud of it, and I wasn't quite right for the role. She was a Las Vegas showgirl, and I'm a little short, but they called, and what in the industry they say they're putting a pin in you, which means you're one of their choices. They just they're not ready to make the offer, but you're one of their choices. They might have one other person they're looking at, but they put a pin in you. They called once a week to make sure I had my COVID vaccinations and I was ready to travel and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And the day before they started filming, they hired Gail O'Grady to play Corbin Burnson's wife. And that was the role. And I thought, oh, shoot. Oh, well, what the heck.
Right.
So then just a year ago, I got a call from J.J. Abrams saying, Adrienne, we have a role for you, in the series that we'd like you to do, but also I'd like your permission because we want to have Adrienne Barbeau in the series as well. I'm sorry, I don't quite understand. Well, the series takes place in the 70s. They hired an actress to play me,
Right.
who is basically sort of flirting with Colonel Tom Parker to get him out of the room so that Josh Holloway's character can steal something from Elvis, right? One of Elvis's memorabilia. The blue suede shoes, yes, yes. So in that episode, there is an actress who I believe is in the newest Superman.
Right, yeah, Michaela Hoover?
Yes. Yes.
Michaela Hoover.
Yes. Michaela Hoover is playing Adrienne Barbeau in the 70s. The only thing she got wrong is I don't drink. She's got a big margarita or something in her hand. And then I'm playing one of the other roles, which was supposed to be, really increased in the second season, and now the second season's gone, so got to get another job.
Is it kind of surreal that you're on a show and it's you? Like you're like, oh well, I'm a character. Like,
it was interesting. It was. I mean, I never saw it until I saw the episode. They sent me the episode because they wanted me to do a little interview about it, and it was fun. She was great. So.
What draws you to a role, to us? When you're reading the script, I know a lot of, is it the story? Is it the concept? What brings you to a role?
It's the words on the page, which it's not the concept. And it's not necessarily the story, but it's the way the story is told, I guess you would say. I get many, many offers for horror films because that's sort of what I'm known for, where I can't get through the first 20 pages because I don't know who these characters are, and they've just been slaughtered in the most violent ways, and I don't give a damn. I don't care about them. Right. You know, there's no character development. It's just, let's get them on screen and let's eviscerate them as much as we can. And so those things don't interest me. I just did what I hope and what I believe is going to be a really good, the director calls it a thriller horror film.
Is this the Oddities?
Oddities.
The Oddities, yes.
Yes. About 2 years ago, I did a short film for a director named Tyler Savage, who had written it. Tyler reached me through my son, Cody Carpenter. They had gone to school together, and Tyler's partner in this original project was one of Cody's closest friends. So they just called and said, we'd like to talk to you about a project. And I went and had coffee with him, and I said, sounds interesting, send me the script. And I love the script. And so we did, it's a 15-minute short film, also called Oddities. Okay. Doesn't bear any resemblance to the feature that we just did, except that my character has the same career, I guess you'd say. But Oddities, which we just finished, stars Lovey Simone, who is now starring in Forever. It's a YA series on Netflix. And Lilimar, who is a big voice actor and also an actress. I couldn't tell you any of her credits right now, even though I've seen them 1,000 times. And Xander Berkeley from The Walking Dead and 24 and all of that. And I'm looking forward to seeing it come. And nothing to do with me, Tyler asked Cody, my son, Cody Carpenter, to score it.
Oh, very cool.
And so Cody's over in Japan, and he's making the music for this movie.
That is very cool.
I'm excited
family
about
affair.
that.
I love it.
Yeah. But I had nothing to do with it. Tyler came to me and said, oh, we just made an offer to Cody, and he accepted. I said, you're kidding. That's great.
That's awesome. So at this time, if you have questions, please line up. And while folks are lining up, I'm going to ask you, you mentioned career, so I'm going to have to, I have to ask this question about the start of your career. And word on the street is you worked for the mob.
I did. I worked for the mob. Well, before that, my first professional job, I got $7 a day. I toured what in those days was called the Orient. Now it's Southeast Asia, entertaining the armed forces.
Like USO tour, right?
Yes, yeah. It was under the auspices of the State Department, but a USO tour. South Korea, they came right over the DMZ and fired at guys who had been in our show, you know, Japan and all of that. That was my first, right out of high school. But when I moved to New York, I needed to work at night because if you're trying to be an actor, you have to have your days free to go to auditions and take voice lessons and, you know, take photographs and all of that. So I took a job as a cocktail waitress at Maddie's Mardi Gras. And Maddie turned out to be Maddie Iannello, who was one of the heads of one of the 5 families or something. All we knew is his name was Maddie the horse. And Maddie had, it was a nice cocktail lounge, restaurant on 49th Street, I think, in Manhattan. He had a stage, and he had, on the stage there were these motorized mannequins dressed up like musicians, you know, and they'd just play motorized mannequins as motorized mannequins play, and they'd put on the jukebox. And people would come in and order a beer and turn around and think they were listening to a live band, and it was these motorized mannequins, and we started getting complaints. So he had his girls get up and dance to the music. And I have been told, I don't know if it's true, but we were the first go-go dancers in existence. This would have been back in 1965.
Wow.
So I don't know. So I made my living as a go-go dancer before I got my first Broadway show.
That's awesome. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
All right. Looks Santa's out here. Hello.
MikeENC.com, but today I'm Obi Claus Kenobi.
All right.
And I was going to ask about Duster, but he beat me to the punch.
Oh, sorry.
I loved your answer. But I've been following you since Maude. Had a huge crush on you back in the day. What was your favorite off-screen moment with the cast of Maude?
Off-screen moment. I can't say it was my favorite, but it is one of the ones that I remember. Bill Macy had joined us. Bill Macy had been doing O Calcutta in New York when he was hired to do the role. And sometime early in the first season, the show, Norman and Bud York, and Norman Lear's partner, were awarded a big Writers Guild award. And so we all went to the Black Tie Affair. I can't believe I'm telling this. And Bill got up on stage, he'd had a few drinks, and yelled, and I can't say the word, "Blank suckers of the world unite," and unzipped his fly. Don't ask me why. He thought he was giving a tribute to Norman and Bud. They got him off the stage, and that's when the word came down that we were never going to be nominated for an Emmy, because there was, in the end, B was nominated, and I don't know if she won or not. I can't remember, but that's one of the memorable moments. We had a wonderful time, though. It was like going to work with your family every day. They were my family.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh.
Everybody's listening to the jingles. Hi, what's your name?
Hey, my name's Evan.
Hi, Evan.
I'm a very big fan of John Carpenter, and I love your films with him. I wanted to ask about Escape from New York specifically, because you play the character Maggie. It's never quite explained why Maggie is in New York to begin with in the film. I was curious if there was something in the script, or if he told you some secret backstory, like if she committed a certain crime to get thrown in the first place.
There was nothing in the script, and John didn't have a backstory. I, as an actor, created one, but Evan, I couldn't tell you what it was for the life of me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I know, because that's the way I work. I sort of want to know what brought you here and what was going on. So I did, but there was nothing in the script.
Oh, okay.
No.
Gotcha.
The only decisions I made, I kept thinking, well, it's a penal colony. She's going to melt down batteries to use for nail polish, because there wouldn't have been any nail polish. It didn't dawn on me until a long time later that, there were probably shops that still had nail polish in them that were boarded up. And then I cooked a turkey, and I used the breastbone for my hair clip. That was my turkey, because I figured, she can't get any of this stuff in jail. But I don't know. It was the 80s. What can I tell you? I will tell you one other story, though, about Maggie that people may not know. When John put the film together, his first showing of the film, the scene on the bridge ended with Maggie firing at the Duke. He showed it to the executives from Avco Embassy and a couple of other executives. And J.J. Abrams' dad was an executive, and he took J.J. to the screening. And at the end of the screening, John said, okay, questions, answers, remarks, whatever. And J.J.'s father made a comment, which I think what I know now from JJ is that John took it. It had something to do with the beginning of the film, and he thought it needed a cut here or something. I don't know what that one was. And JJ told me he was mortified that his father had done that. But he raised his hand and said, "What happened to Maggie?" So we went back to our house and took our cars out of the garage. I put the costume on again. I cooked another turkey. I put the thing in my hair. They put me down on the ground. They put blood around me, and they shot that final moment of Maggie dead.
Wow. Okay.
So eliminated me from being in any Escape from LA or any sequels, but that was thanks to JJ.
Wow, very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, what's your name?
Hi, I'm Matt.
Hi, Matt.
Yeah, big John Carpenter fan, and I'm a Star Trek fan as well, and saw some Deep Space Nine, and I hadn't watched that until a few years ago, actually. But I'm like, it's Adrienne. You're in there as Romulan, and you did a really great job as that.
Thank you. Thank you.
And that Maggie scene, I keep remembering that scene as very visceral. Like every time I see that, still, it's just like your eyes are open. It's like blood everywhere. It's like, oh my God, Maggie saw a terrible end, but just an awesome character. But it was good to see, what happened. I'm glad that scene was shot to see that, Maggie's end. Anyways,
Thank you.
the character deserved some.
Thank you.
Yeah. My question, I guess, was you shared a story about how there was an actress who played 1970s Adrienne, but now with the rise of AI and everything, it's like now they don't even need. They could put your face on it. They could mimic your voice. All those kind of things. I'm just curious, I guess, how you feel about that, and like how companies can, even without your permission now, they could use your likeness. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Say they did like God forbid, they did an Escape from New York remake or like a prequel or something, and they wanted Maggie back. How would you feel if they did that?
Well, I wouldn't like it.
Yeah.
I know that our union, at least, and the voiceover, voiceover union, I think too. I'm seeing in contracts. In fact, I don't know if it was a contract for. I was going to do some signing of cards, but there was a phrase in there that said AI could not be used. I mean, we're fighting tooth and nail to try and keep our privacy and not have that happen. But I know now, I'm constantly sending. My son Cody lives in Japan, and I'm constantly sending him Instagrams, and he's constantly sending them back to me saying, "This is AI. Don't believe this. This is AI."
It's still a very current thing.
It's a terrifying thing, really, when you think about it. I mean, look at well, we won't get into politics, but, we just had an image of our former president being handcuffed and pushed on the ground and arrested, and that's all just made up. It's
ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. Thank you for your work.
Hello, what's your name?
My name's Joey.
Hi, Joey.
Hi, Joey.
Did you have any accidents making Swamp Thing?
Swamp Thing. No accidents. The stuntman thought it was great fun to take snakes and put them on my back. You know what? I learned something in Swamp Thing. So naive. We were doing the scene where the bad guys, it's been years since I've watched the movie, but the bad guys are chasing me in a Jeep, I think, and I'm running from them. And the stuntman came up to me and he said, "Look, if you trip and fall, just stay where you are and we won't run over you." And I thought, you mean that could happen? I mean, this is just the movies. This is just,
Like
this
that
is
wasn't in my. I
make-believe.
didn't think about that before.
And that was the first time I really, and then our stuntman on that show, I remember there was one fellow whose leg just looked like hamburger meat. I think he had done a fire stunt or something and it had gone wrong. We did have a stunt in Cannonball Run that went very wrong and ended up with one of the stunt women paralyzed. But I didn't have any any accidents on that film. It wasn't easy because we were in the swamps and chiggers and ticks, and it never dawned on me that alligators would come out of the swamp, But I survived.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joey.
How you doing?
Hello, what's your name?
Rick.
Hi, Rick.
Question about Cannonball Run, since you brought it up. I heard that there was much of a script and it was all like touch and go. Let's see how it works. Do you have any memories or anything funny to share about it? Because I heard it was almost like a giant party.
Next time you watch it and you're looking at the outtakes at the end, look at my face. I didn't think it was funny. With Bert beating up on Dom and stuff like that. It was early in my film career, and I was intent on acting, on being an actress. And I mean, they could have cared less, those guys. It was just, let's do whatever we want, we'll say whatever we want, and the audience will love it. And they did love it. But for me, it was like, the only one that it really didn't bother me was Dean Martin, who never said a word that was on the page. But he was so delightful and so funny that I'd just stand there and wait and think, okay, can I talk now? Is it my cue? Because he never said anything that I recognized from the script, My other favorite memory is I was really starstruck over Roger Moore. I mean,
Really? Of course.
Wow. James Bond. And there was one day when we were in the desert in Lancaster, I think, and Roger's air conditioning went out in his trailer, and he asked if he could come sit in my trailer, and I thought, oh my God, what am I going to talk to Roger Moore about, Roger Moore. And I think we ended up talking about the school system in California or something. But it was fun. It was fun for all of them, and a little fun for me because I was just taking it too seriously.
Awesome. Loved you in the jumpsuit also.
You know what? That jumpsuit had another incarnation. In, I think it was 2012, I shot Argo. If anybody knows, it won the Academy Award that year. And Argo took place in the late 70s. And in the movie itself, there is a science fiction movie being produced. So imagine science fiction, late 70s. I got on the set, and there was my jumpsuit on one of the extras. Oh. They had pulled it out of Warner Brothers because it looked like science fiction, sort of,
Very cool.
So,
thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 questions left. We have 10 minutes. Hello.
Hi, I'm Julie.
Hi, Julie.
I'm a big fan. I
Thank
loved
you
you as Maggie. That was one of my favorite movies, Escape from New York.
Yeah.
My question is, has there ever been a role that you were offered that you turned down and later regretted?
No, except I got a script from I guess he was a sort of new director, but a big musician, And I read the first 20 pages of it, and I called my agent, and I said, there's no way I'm not doing this. This is not for me. And about a year later, I was at a con, and Bill Moseley was there, and he was signing. He had people out the door signing. I said, Bill, this is great. What are you signing? He said, Devil's Rejects. Oh, that's the one I turned down.
Oh.
So I would have made money, but I couldn't do that movie.
Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Hello.
Hello. Oh, thank you. My name is Gabby, and I had a question. Do you have any favorite moments from Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield?
The first day I got on the set, there was a line of women outside of Rodney's trailer. And I said to the producer, what's going on? What's going on? He said, oh, they're all waiting to get a kiss and a hug from him. He's a sex symbol. Rodney? But he was great. He was a wonder. I always said that the director should have had an Academy Award for getting him to stand still. Because Rodney was just like, and he wanted to do his act in every scene. And the director would say, Rodney, it's really funny. I don't think it works here, but it's really funny. And then years later, after he died, his widow invited me to come to a reading of Back to School because down at LA City College, Rodney had left an endowment to establish an entire school of comedy at LA City College. I think they have maybe 4 or 5 classes down there for writers and stand-up comedians. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Mhm.
Also,
Thank you.
I love your hair.
Thank you.
Hello, what's your name?
Hi, Ms. Barbeau. My name is Matthew.
Hi, Matthew.
I just have one question. One thing I really appreciate as a fan that you came back for the first episode of Creepshow.
Oh, yes.
And also Swamp Thing. I was wondering if you could share what your experience was like doing that.
Well, there was a little disappointment in that obviously the character in Creepshow was not Billy, she was. But it was my first time working with Greg Nicotero, and it was a great experience working with, I had done, I don't know how many, I'd done 2 or 3, I'd done a Criminal Minds with Tobin Bell, and I'd done a film with Tobin. And so, that was all wonderful. I enjoyed it. It was, she's not Billy, so you can't really brag about her, but it was a good experience. And what interested me the most was the young boy. I don't know that he'd ever acted before, and Greg was fantastic with him as a director, getting the performance he did. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Oh, Swamp Thing, I'll tell you really fast. That set that they built, the swamp, was incredible. And I just wished that Wes had been alive to see it because that was an incredible set. Politics, I think, got in the way, and so they didn't go on with the series, but it had nothing to do with the quality of the series. People loved it.
The first season was amazing.
Yeah,
I wish
yeah.
it continued.
I know. Okay.
All right. Hello, last question. What's your name?
Hello, I'm sorry, I'm a teacher and I lost my voice.
Oh.
I'm John. Adrienne, I just want to say how much I enjoy your work and loved you in Back to School and Cannonball Run. You just brought a lot of joy in my life. I've been going through a lot, so I appreciate your work. So I just want to thank you for everything. So.
Thank you very much. This is people say, I mean, sure, we do these cons so we can earn some money, but it's really Lou Diamond Phillips, when he did his first one, we were having lunch together, and he used a word that I had never thought about before, but he said, it's so gratifying to realize that, to hear everybody else's story and to realize that maybe something that we just did because it was work and this is how we earn our living, and but it had an effect on people, and that it's maybe made people's lives lighter or brighter or more interesting or whatever. So thank you for saying that. Thank you.
That's a great way to go out. Any last words? Of course, any other works? I know we have the oddities.
We've got oddities. Duster's over. Well, I've just done a bunch of one-offs.
Right.
Like 911 and AJ and the Queen and Cowboy Bebop and all of that. My last book was about Grease. Right. Grease, tell me more. But I do have a memoir. There are worse things I could do, and I've got 3 vampire novels.
Do you have these at your table, by the way?
No.
Oh, you don't.
It's like, you can buy them cheap if you buy an ebook. And we just finished a screenplay based on a Nevada bar book that we optioned. Oh, I don't know how good it was. I did a TV movie for Tubi about a year ago, but just finished a screenplay based on this Nevada bar book, and we're going to see if we can't get somebody to finance it and produce it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Love it.
Okay.
Well, thank you for hanging out with us.
Thank
and
you.
thank you all for hanging out with us this Saturday afternoon.